Why is that you're deprived out of good marks? What is the thematic representation? What are the figurative speech? What are the poetic devices? Everything is included in synopsis. Your introduction should not be overwriting. Conclusion also plays a very prominent role fetching you marks. Hello everyone. Out of all the chaos today, what keeps us carefree is only the touch of art. Art is everything. Art is something that can flow from your brain and that reaches your heart and then starts a new concept. We are talking about a new phase of our life, writing etiquette. Writing doesn't remain only a verb. Rather, it's much more beyond that. Here I'm talking about writing as an art. The feelings that you cannot share through words is where you put it as writing. But here, mere writing doesn't fetch you anything. There is something beyond your perception, and that's known as creativity. Most of my students always pose the question, ma'am, though I have been filling up the pages, quantity is what I have. But my child darling, where is the quality? Your qualitative answers only can fetch you marks. Isn't it true that we English teachers are termed out to be very conjuice, mucky-choo, stingy and whatnot? But what is that you're deprived of? Where are you losing marks? What is that an English faculty sees? What is that an English teacher sees in your paper? What is she expecting? What is that she wants or he wants from the paper or the answer script? It's only a good writing. When I say good writing, it's not your handwriting. It's the genre that you're putting out as an idea to make it a sentence that is lucid yet very powerful in terms. That's where we stand here with that of writing etiquettes. Here you will learn to be that aspiring student or someone wherein this 1% of understanding will help you do something. This is purely based on the writing etiquette wherein you will start writing on the terms of examination. And here you have entitled Writing is an Art. Art can be in any form. It need not to be only dance. It need not to be only singing. It can be writing also. Anybody can write. But notable writers are those who put their brain and heart together to pour down their emotions. And how? It's only through writing. And this art can keep you to that level wherein you'll be termed as a notable writer. It can be anything. When I'm talking about writing etiquette, it's not about your handwriting, it's not about your legible writing. It is the creative way of writing. Let's think out of the box. What is the phrase out of the box? In the sense that nobody would have taught or taught so far. Let's do something very different. That's what you're being taught here. It's only 1% of writing etiquette that I can teach you pertaining to your examination. So what are you introduced with that? So I call this slide to be the creative and notable artists. These are not only the personalities who contributed to the way of writing or to the field of literature. There are many millions of writers, of course. There are millions of poets, playwrights, novelists, and many number, of course. You can see the expressions when I say many and many. But yet, I chose these because these lay foundation to that pillar content wherein the contemporary writers call them as the whiz. So I chose those, and here is Chaucer, known for his Canterbury Tales. Next, Kuvempu. Needless to say, His Majesty goes high to the way to be explained. And next, our favorite, William Shakespeare. And there are Wordsworth, William Blake, and who not? There are many as well. Jane Austen, in the female writers, Jane Austen and everyone. But what is this question mark? Why is that a skeptical mark here? It's only because you can be the one here. If you're an aspiring writer, if you're an aspiring novelist, I would love to see your picture instead of the skeptical mark or a question mark. Next, in the terms of examination, you all know what to write. But how? Why is that you're deprived out of good marks? You have filled the leaves and pages, but still out of 10 you would have fetched only 5. Whereas the other 5 marks. So here is an answer for that. Methodology, let's learn about the writing etiquette. This is just the 1% that I can teach you. You make it 99 and make it 100 in your examination. Methodology, introducing to you the introduction. Every time we start something, terming it as introduction. So what is that in introduction? A proverb. First impression is the best impression, right? The time you see somebody for the very first time, they leave back a mark, and that mark can be the best also and worst also. But here in your writing, your first impression should be the best impression, because there is no another chance for you. What is that you have to start with? You have to start with the name of the poet or an author. Only the name of the poet. I don't want his family contents. Who was his mother? Who was his father? In which hospital was he born? Who was the doctor? Who was the nurse? Nothing such. It's just that the author or the poet, and continuing with the title of the poem or a prose only. You can add the name of the poem or a prose. I don't want his or her education qualification. Where was his countryside? Where was his house? Nothing such. What is his personal life? Who is his wife? Who are his daughters and sons? Nothing such. All these redundancies are taboo. Next, explain the titular expression. What is the titular expression? The significance of the title. For example, if it shows heaven if you are not on earth. What is the titular expression? It states that earth is in itself is heaven. We can't find heaven outside the earth. We have to have heaven right here. And that's the titular expression. The simple, it is the significance of the title. Next, 5 wise lines. So you have to conclude introduction in 5 lines only. Your introduction should not be overwriting. There should not be nothing of such which is termed as redundancies or which is repeated. You make it very lucid, very understanding, and also which promulgates an idea to the synopsis. Your introduction will pave a way to the synopsis. Next, talking about synopsis. What is synopsis? We term sometimes it as summary. But summary is very different from synopsis. Summary is just the notion that you write or you paraphrase according to the poet. You just paraphrase. But while we talk about synopsis, it's a way of your understanding. What is the thematic representation? What are the figurative speech? What are the poetic devices? Everything is included in synopsis. And synopsis is very different from summary. So, this is the true step to creative writing. Your synopsis is the true step to creative writing. Declare this creative writing. Not everyone are born with the quality of creative writing. Lucky are those who emerges with writing with creativity. But alas, not far are the days when everybody can create themselves as creative writers, because we all are bestowed with good brain and attitude. We just have to amalgamate those and write our emotions. How do we start? Open the lines with a quotation. You have to learn the first 2 lines of every poem by rote. While I say rote, it is by heart. I would want you to replace your term by heart with that of the rote. You have to know the first 2 lines. Okay, and when you start synopsis, you have to put it in the quote just like that. And underline the quote. This is just an example or an instance I am giving you, and underline the quotation. Quote, the quotation mark is the double inverted comma. This is the quote. Something that is written inside the quotation mark is known as quote. Quote. You get that? I believe yes, I can see you nodding. If not, it's high time. Pull up your socks, buckle yourself and concentrate. Next, choose first 2 opening lines of the poem. You have to learn it by rote. Set them inside the quotation marks as I did it here. Explain the theme that drills the synopsis. It's not paraphrasing that is important. Paraphrasing, keep it aloof. You have to drill the theme. What is the theme of the poem? What is that synopsis need? That's where you have to drill. When I say drill, it is going deeper. It is to divulge yourself inside the theme and write a synopsis. You just can't write the poet says so and so. The poet wants the heaven to be on earth. Earth is a heaven. Heaven is everywhere. Blah, blah, blah. No. Simple as that. You have to just drill the theme. Use figurative speech and poetic devices. You will have figurative speech because poem is completely of figurative speech. Like simile, metaphor, personification. No poem is complete without figurative speech and poetic devices. You can obtain the way you want. And the last, elucidate only to the point. You can't be impertinent. You have to be wise enough in choosing your lines. While you write everything, while you conclude these, what is that will fetch you marks is a highlight. You have to underline the important sentences. Mind you, you can't overdo it. You have to underline the important sentences. Make sure you have a legible writing. And a very good advice to the one who have a bad writing, just like me, a secret of course. I don't have a good writing at all. I never had good writing. But the creative way of thinking and underlining would definitely fetch me marks. And that's the support that I get. Okay? Jokes apart, here is what it is. You have to choose the first two lines of the poem, underline, put that in the quotation because you all are wise enough. Learning two lines wouldn't be a sabbatical for you. It wouldn't be a burden for you. Next, set them in the quotation mark and underline those. Explain the theme. You are not paraphrasing. You are not divulging yourself in what the poet has said. Poet has conveyed a message. Now it's left to you the way you understand and you have to drill it deeper. When I say drill, it's going deeper. Next, figurative speech is important as well as the poetic devices are equally important. Next, elucidate. When I say elucidate, in the sense that jot down or explain only to the point. If they have asked you the theme of Romeo and Juliet, what is the theme? The theme is love. Remember, I chose one poem from the first PUC and the other poem from the second PUC, which states that the theme might be different and it's your understanding that where you stand. Next, elucidate the only to the point. You have to only write what is the theme. And you have to have the capability or the prowess or intellectual smartness to elucidate to the point. If they ask you, for example, if I have to term it in common, who was Rama's wife? You have to just write it as Sita was Rama's wife. You can't say Sita was Rama's wife. Lakshmana was Rama's brother. Bharata was the king. He was Rama's brother as well. And he is the king of Ayodhya. So this doesn't elucidate to the point. You have to only answer to the point and that should be very crisp. So finally we are in conclusion, the happiest part wherein say hooray, fagging your hands here and there, throwing away your pens. But mind you darlings, this is where sometimes that last impression can be the best impression also. Synopsis and introduction can do its duty, but the conclusion also plays a very prominent role fetching you marks. Not only in marks, if you are an artist in writing or if you have all the creative in writing, the conclusion plays a very pivotal role. So how is that you ought to start? Choose two lines. Again, the repetence of synopsis. You chose the first two lines of poem or a paragraph, and in conclusion you have to choose the last of the lines or few lines from the last paragraphs or the stanzas, so that you can put them inside the quotation marks, only followed by the explanation of the motive. So what is the meaning of motive and symbols? Motive is the message or the observation that you find in the poem or a prose. Next, conclude with the positive mode. Every ending should have a happy climax, and they lived happily ever after. The end. So you come out very happily out of your theatre, don't you? And even after reading books, when it says that and they lived happily ever after, so that's where you have a good day. But not every story, not every poem ends with a happy end, and there are catastrophic end also. But an artist can give that tragic end also a positive mode. For example, Bahubali the beginning, Bahubali the conclusion. So how was it? In the beginning also you were left with mystery. There was an array in the first part, and in the second part there was a happy ending. In the same way, while you come out of your theatre or the reading mode, that's where you find, thank God, everything falls into places. So here also you have to have a positive mode. Make sure you spread a message out of writing. And next, look at him. Such a good boy writing something in his left hand, but never mind, the lefties are also very clever. Here is a critical appreciation. So he is writing something very critically. He has divulged himself in writing. Can you see this? He's writing something here. So that's critical appreciation. Jokes apart. Be the one to critically acclaim. It's not just you have to go in the focus or with the flow of the poet. You're wise enough to apprehend or comprehend the poetry. You can critically criticize or critically acclaim, or you can do anything such, but make sure you don't array your understanding. You are fine enough in understanding everything, yes, but you should not arrange your understanding there. Let poet also opine something, and so be you. So you have to be critically acclaiming. Your strength lies in your writing, and that writing is derived out of your wise and sensible thoughts. If you want, you can write anything. You can write anything bad, anything good. But what about creativity? How far is that gravitating? There should be a gravitation force which pulls our interest into our reading. Next, examine the work critically and analyze accordingly. You have to have a better ending. While you write the critical appreciation, I would suggest you start, I personally opine. When you say I personally opine, it states that it's your opinion. Nobody can change your statement, though sometimes it can be termed as wrong. Also, when you say I personally opine, this is a weapon used in debates. So I believe that all these will make you understand the writing etiquette. And if you follow these methodologies, then you will be with good grades. And that's where our happiness lies too. So what is that next you have? I have entitled this as the artistry of a writer is his brain. Where everything starts, it starts in brain and ends in your heart. And heart puts out your emotions. I can't draw art, please. Whenever I was in my high school, I used to trace out of the text. I'm really sorry. So here you have the notable writers of Indian writing in English. Arundhati Roy, known for his best novel, The God of Small Things. Devdutt Pattanayak, known for his mythological thoughts wherein he puts up the mythology in a proper way to understand. You have Chetan Bhagat, known for his umpteen books of lucid love story, The Half Girlfriend, and many more to come. And next you have Aravind Adiga, known for his the best selling of the book and Booker Prize awardee. That's The White Tiger. So all these are the notable writers in Indian writing in English. All have turned out to be literature such well. And mind you, literature is very beautiful subject. The more you delve deeper, the more you promulgate yourself into reading and writing. So that's what you have for the day. Here's Vidyashram Standard Written on Learning. With everything that is coming forward, let's challenge life and say that we are alive. Until then, take care.